Welcome back to another episode of Just Jossin Around. My guest today.
We didn't get any of that?
What?
We didn't get any of that?
No, I didn't.
All right. All right.
Neil.
Don't erase none of that good shit at the beginning.
Neil Rubenstein. Steen.
See?
Steen,
No one
yeah, I
ever,
know.
right? That's why I don't tell anyone. That's why I'm like, just do it. Like, do
Just
what
do
feels.
it. What I know, but also like the first night I met you at Zuber, I kept being like, around. I was like trying to be like, what's his last name? And I did that a lot because I was just like, it's a long last name. It's actually not that hard.
DeBonis.
I'm sorry. DeBonis is, listen.
It's as many syllables. It's the same amount of syllables.
DeBonis. No, you're right. I'm sorry.
You have to count it out? Jesus Christ. I mean, it's early, but.
This is early. I mean, how are you feeling this morning? Are you feeling refreshed?
I feel good, yeah.
I feel like
on
you
a very
slept at
comfortable couch.
You slept at a stranger's apartment.
It rained last night, and I only felt like 2 or 3 drops inside. So, like, I mean, where I've been staying, that's like it's a step up.
Can I ask? Because, I mean, I don't know how often you, like, just meet people on the road and stay with them. Can I ask your expectation versus reality of my living situation?
Expectation to 100% like accurate. Yeah,
it's what you thought? Really?
Yeah,
that's actually very complimentary.
Because I go like single like bachelor pad guy shit.
Yeah.
Terrifying. And then I go like 45-year-old woman with like kids left the house, right? Is like the spectrum.
That's a good spectrum.
And then like I put you like kind of like like almost a bachelor pad, but like clean. And that's what I feel like I got.
Okay, good. That's what I like. I was
nothing fancy, kind of like thrown together, but like clean and comfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I go for lesbian grandma. That's what I like. That's the vibe.
So what I find a lot is like bathrooms. Like I want to stay, like my goal is to stay with like a big dude, because then I know that the bathroom is going to be for like a big guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes I stay with like little guys,
Yeah.
and like the toilet, like the target is like this.
Sure.
So I got to like scooch back to pee and then scooch forward to poo.
Yeah.
Whack.
No, even I feel like my toilet situation is extremely small.
It's a little small and it's loose.
It's so loose, but I'm going to be honest, I don't know how to tighten to make the seat, not loose. Like every time I'm on it, I feel like I'm about to slip off.
To be fair, I don't know that, yeah.
See,
I guess I could have if I knew.
My whole attitude is I feel like now that I'm about to move out of that apartment, I notice all these flaws. So every time I find a flaw, I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm leaving.
Yeah. Also, I guess that's the problem with being a lesbian. Like you can't, like there's never a guy over to like fix shit. You know what I mean? Like, whenever I need shit done at my place, I just invite a guy over. I'm like, listen, I'll blow you. Can you fix?
Just please do this.
Can you put the TV up?
Or the guys that do come over there, they just don't.
I mean,
they've never touched.
I've never touched.
Like I wouldn't know where to start.
I don't. Yeah, I don't work with my hand. I got little lady hands.
They're lovely.
Yeah. Well.
Did your car get broken into?
No, Jesus Christ, no.
Okay, sorry. No, I was asking. You walked out of the apartment this morning.
I was a little concerned.
I would be concerned.
Jossin lives in the sketchiest.
I don't.
Like, straight up.
They're working on it.
I mean, yeah.
They just put a early bird brunch spot catty corner to my apartment.
Yeah. They're like, let's get some more white people in here. They're like, we gotta.
Yeah.
I did a comic book shop / craft beer bar in St. Louis.
Oh, that sounds really fun.
Yeah, it's great. It was really great.
I like all those things.
But it was like the neighborhood. It was like liquor store, pawn shop, eyebrow threading place. And I was like, how long you guys been here? And they're like 3 months. And I'm like, so how long does the eyebrow threading place have?
Until, yeah.
And they were all like, oh. I'm like, oh, you guys didn't know what you were doing here?
Literally.
Like Black Lives Matter thing in the window, but Black Livelihoods, we don't care about that.
Like we're trying to get a yoga place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so brutal. It's like.
It's
All right, you know, I don't know. I'm not a city planner, so.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, I have no control.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, it's gonna happen or it's not gonna happen, but it just feels like, I don't know. I don't want to go into like a capitalism.
No,
rant.
let's go full political.
Yeah. So the problem with Israel and Palestine,
this is so fun.
we gave the Jews Israel. We should have given them Japan.
This is what people. This is why people listen to the podcast, and
It's
they're
for
like,
political.
we know this is a local comedy podcast, but we do want to know people's hot takes.
Yeah.
But this is a local comedy podcast. We have a lot of local people that listen to this. What's your impression of? I mean, you were just in Lincoln, but impression of the Omaha Lincoln scene.
As cities, I really like Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
It was like in contention for where I was gonna move.
Really?
When I left New York.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at apartments in what was it called, Blackstone?
Oh yeah,
I looked
yeah.
at apartments over there. I was like, can't afford it. And then and Lincoln's cool, man. That was the first time I've been to Lincoln.
Sure.
And yeah, it's a cool city.
Good euros.
The late night food scene is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the comedy scene, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
I've only done like a couple of mics in each, but seems strong and close knit, and everyone I've met is cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's most places.
Yeah.
Like you.
I had kind of like I just went to Denver like just to have a good time.
I was there when you were there.
How?
I mean, I didn't know you then,
I didn't.
but I looked at your Insta and you were like 2 days ago. You
Yeah.
were there. I was in Denver 2 days ago.
What were you doing in Denver?
I was doing comedy.
What kind of comedy? Where comedy?
I did the Denver Comedy Lounge.
Oh, cool.
Ben
Okay.
Kronberg's
I've always
space.
wanted to meet Ben Kronberg. I've heard really good things.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
Mhm.
He runs an incredible room. 5 shows. Most of them were like pretty close to sold out,
That's crazy.
if not
That's
sold
awesome.
out. Good crowds for the most part. They policed the room pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
The food is tremendous. It's like behind a sushi place. So
Rock
like,
on.
yeah,
That's
fun time.
cool. Wow, a lot of
Fun time.
crossover. Well, I mean, as far as like, I just went there and I made the mistake of going on a trip for leisure with other comics. So of course we went to a
Comedy,
mic,
yeah.
and I really appreciate how quickly I can get up in Nebraska versus Denver. Like I had a friend who was able to get me up a little bit earlier on the list, but otherwise, if it wasn't for that, I would have been there for 5 hours probably at each one.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, some scenes are definitely like that.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's like some scenes are welcoming to outsiders and
Mhm.
want to like put you to the front,
Yeah.
and some scenes are like insular, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, we're Denver,
Yes.
so like if you want to come to, you gotta, and New York City's like that too, where it's
Yeah, I
like,
was gonna ask.
get at the end of the line, dude. Like
That's where you
even, like,
started.
yeah,
Yeah.
even like me coming back, like I was away for a couple of years, and like
Mhm.
going back, like if I, I got to get back at the end of the line. Like there's no.
Yeah. I was gonna ask what's it like starting stand up in New York? New York seems like the most like intimidating place to try to, I don't know, build a set and.
Well, I think. I think that like a thing you're not, like people don't consider is like, if you're starting in New York, then all you know is New York. So it's not, you know what I mean? It's
True.
not like,
There's no. Yeah.
yeah. And like also like New York, there's just so many people and so many opportunities that it's like even if you blow it, it's like, well, I can just reset and go tomorrow. If you blow it in Lincoln and you go to another mic in Lincoln, everyone's gonna be like, oh, that's the guy that said the N-word. That guy sucks.
Oh, jeez.
Where if you like said the N-word in like, some basement in Bushwick,
Yeah.
if you got out of there, you could go to a basement in Park Slope and it'd be
Brand
30
new.
different people. You could try your N-word joke there.
That's crazy.
I don't encourage anyone to try N-word jokes.
No. And honestly, the people that listen to this, they're thinking about it.
Yeah,
So
don't do it.
don't.
Yeah. Grace, don't do N-word jokes. She's straight leaving. She walked out. She legitimately walked out. I like that she wore a shirt the same color as the chair so she could leave and we wouldn't know. Yeah,
she could blend in.
I just look in there. I see a red chair and like a black mic cable. And I'm like, oh, Grace is still in there.
I want you to know, if we had the headphones on, we could hear Grace rebuttal. But now
really?
Grace has been silenced by
good.
the lack of us.
I like that. I like that. I like silencing women.
You're in the right place then.
Yeah.
That's what we do here.
The Midwest.
The Midwest, where we keep.
Ooh-wee.
Oh, man.
You're 23 and not pregnant? Wow.
Wow.
That's incredible.
I know. My family's really proud.
Yeah. Jesus. I joked when I moved to OKC, like my dating pool in New York and Long Island all has like 3-year-olds.
Really?
But
okay.
my dating pool in Oklahoma City all has 22-year-olds.
Interesting.
Yeah. They just start early here. They just start early in the Midwest.
They do. They do.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to start a family. You need a job. You need a house. I don't think that's going to happen for this generation, though. Everything's too fucking expensive. I can barely afford myself.
Yeah, no one can afford anything now. And that's kind of one of the main reasons, like the main things that keeps me going. Like I'm broke as hell right now, but it's like everyone I know with like real job type jobs and like they're all struggling too. So it's I'd rather do this than be miserable. So it's like
that is true.
If I'm gonna be broke regardless, like I'd rather be broke
and having a good time.
Driving around Omaha with freaking 2 lunatic dudes from Lincoln.
I did want first impressions of just comics in general. I feel like we're always so like, I always wonder what our impression, because when people come to us, we're like, it's exciting because it's new perspective.
New blood.
Yeah, we're like,
you smell it in the water.
Yes. We're like, we're going to take you to Alibaba's and we're going to eat euros and interrogate you.
I had a comic come up to me. Yes. So we went to that.
Was it Dubliner in Omaha?
Yeah. That was fun. We went to Duffy's.
Ugh.
And, nice place, nice people. Thank you for your hospitality. But, Serenity? That's her name?
Yeah, Serenity.
Serenity was like, it'll be like whatever, like 2 more comics, 3 more comics, and then you can close. You can do as long as you want.
Whoa.
But there's like 4 people.
Yeah.
And I just had like a fun open mic, and I was like, you know what? Let the kids play. Yeah. So she brings up Zach, and she's like, oh, this is our penultimate comic.
What does that mean?
And then she explains it. She's like, not the ultimate comic, not your last comic, your next to last comic. And meaning that I'm the last comic. And so I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna, he's last.
Yeah.
And so, he does whatever he does. I think like 6 jokes. And it was like, I can't do it. And then as I'm leaving, like 2 comics that weren't at Zoo Bar or whatever, which is funny, whatever, it's fine. It's just funny to me. They're like, oh, maybe next week you'll try it.
Oh, that is so good.
And I'm like, yeah, maybe next week. I'm like,
so good.
Probably not.
They thought you were just a nervous person.
Yeah. I loved it. I was like, yeah.
That's really funny.
I mean, how would they not? How would they, it's just so, it was adorable. It was like, oh yeah.
So cute. Oh my gosh. I'm so curious to know who said that. Was it 2 girls?
It was a lady named Steve.
Oh yeah, Steve Ignat. Yeah, cigars. Yes. Steve sells cigars in Lincoln. If you ever need a good one.
What's the pronoun on that there?
I think he, him.
He goes with he, him.
Yeah. Huh. But he does dress up occasionally, which honestly, it's been refreshing to see him dress up. I think he was sick for a while, and so he was just coming,
sweats.
And and I just felt bad. And then he started showing up and dressing up, and Steve looks great. Steve's got killer legs.
No, I didn't like take a good enough look. I was like, I was watching a lady on stage, and then they were like, all right, give it up for Steve. And I was like,
yeah, that'll throw you. I never know. That's Steve.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, good for him.
Good cigar company.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's really fun. So he said,
he was like, "Oh, come back next week."
That's
I was like,
really
"Oh."
sweet. That's really.
I was like, "You're adorable." I was like, "I'm gonna go now."
You're like, I'm actually gonna go do real shit.
No. Listen, it's all real shit. I mean, that's the thing. Is like, yeah, I don't know, man. Sometimes people will be like, "Oh, but you," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm at this open mic with you."
Yeah,
I'm at Zoo Bar with you.
True.
Like we're not like I've just been doing it longer. It's not like I didn't get anything out of it.
Well, I mean, even you were telling, like, when we were talking about a lot of the people that you came up with, you kind of said this. I kind of have like a critique against you. You were like, I feel like I'm not at the same place as like the people that I come up with, but I feel like everyone's opportunities just like look so different.
Yeah, I'm not, I wouldn't be afraid to follow any of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll swing with any of them.
Mm-hmm.
But like they've achieved stuff like they, whatever the metric you want to go by, whether it's 100,000 followers or late night sets or just for laughs or, $100,000 Patreons. Like,
yeah, that's
like,
crazy.
yeah, like all those people are doing better than me, like objectively.
Sure.
I don't think they're better. Like, I'm not disrespecting them. I think they're all great comics, but I think I'm a great comic.
Yes.
Like, I'm not like, oh, how could I, you know what I mean? Like, how could I ever aspire to be as good as so-and-so? It's like, yeah, I'm easily as good as them, but.
There was a comic who, there was a couple that had moved from Connecticut to Lincoln. And that was like the attitude that they carried was just like, we're so good. I've opened for XYZ. Why hasn't this happened to me yet? And then I was just like, well, then why did you move to Nebraska? Like,
well, I mean, I moved to Oklahoma City.
Okay, but you know what? Maybe
in
this case they were just whack jobs.
Yeah, I'm also not like, oh, I desert. Like, I'm still just putting my head down and trying to get better. I just want to be as good as I could possibly be. Like, I want to be the best one on every show. And
listen, I had a really good time at Zoo Bar. You were my favorite to
thank
watch.
you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think you're very creative. I literally could not, throughout your set, you had the one joke about just haunted historic buildings.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, man, I've been here since 18.
Yeah.
That was just so good. And I kept laughing like throughout your set at that joke. It was very good.
All right.
I would love to see you do what? Oh, Ghost Energy.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just like, I like to, like, that's like the style I like.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I think were we talking about it at Alibaba's when we were all there?
You went in on a Joe list and
that ability to to tell a story without with just like one, like, oh, the guy says this and it like
tells
that
more.
paints like a bigger picture. You know what I mean? Like I like that stuff, and I feel like I do it as often as I can.
Yeah,
it might be the thing I lean on too much, maybe. I don't know, but
no, that's it's so enjoyable. It makes you like catch on to every word so you don't miss anything, and it's very creative.
Thanks.
I enjoyed it a lot. Would love to see
thanks,
a longer
man.
set.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Well, I have a special out on YouTube. You guys can all check out.
What's it called?
Have Some Dignity.
Awesome. Where'd you shoot your special?
We recorded in a black box in Montclair, New Jersey, a place called the Clubhouse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was
How
fun.
long was that in the work? I mean, to get the material for that special, how long did that take you? Was that like your entire?
So like, I feel like all first albums
are just.
I mean, for bands or for comics, is like it's like your greatest hits of your early works.
Yeah.
And then it's that sophomore record where it really tests your writing, where it's like, oh, well, let's see what this band can come up with in just 18 months.
Yeah.
Let's see what this comic can come up with in just 18 months and like polish it. And like, so I don't know. I mean, the first one, I always feel like the first one is just to be like, well, here's evidence.
Yeah.
And then the second one is like, this is what I can do.
Yeah.
So
that's
I don't
awesome.
know.
Where can people find your special?
It's on YouTube. Yeah, it's on YouTube through it's through a record label called Equal Vision Records.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's the one thing that I've seen like that has inspired me with comics is just like the amount of like self-producing and just it's like you don't have to wait for someone to give you the green light. You can just put your work out there and put it out the way you want to.
Well, I don't think you can put it out the way you want to.
Why?
I think you have to put it out the way they tell you.
Wait, well, I guess if you're going through a label.
Well, I mean, I think even just if you're not, it's like, oh, it's got to be Instagrammable. It's got to be YouTube. It's got to be TikTok. It's got to be, you got to edit the curses. You can't say the C word at all. And then you get demonetized. You can't curse in the first 7 minutes. You can't so it's like, all right, well, now we're not, I mean, now the freedom of, oh, it's the Wild West. You can do whatever you want. It's like, no, it's not. No, absolutely not. It's not.
I see that, but also I think like I guess I'm speaking more towards like if you have a fan base that's pretty like loyal to you and they know what they're coming for.
Sure, but go get that. How do you go get that?
That's true. No, valid. Doing
you know
the
what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you go get that? So it's like I can't gain traction on Instagram, and it's weird too because it's like when you think of Facebook, you think of like, 40 to 60, right? Like that age range. Yeah. And when you think of Instagram, you probably think of like 20 to 30 or like something in that range, right? And then like it's just evident in the algorithm. Like I post things on both.
Yeah.
They don't ever push me on Instagram.
Sure.
I don't get followers on Instagram. And then they push me on Facebook and I get followers on Facebook. So it's like that's a decision a robot made.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to push the fat old white guy because they don't care about fat old white guys using their platform. But they'll push you on Facebook because they want people using that platform.
Yeah.
And so like TikTok, like they don't want nothing to do with me.
I've given up on TikTok.
Yeah, I 100% I deleted that.
I just done. As far as like posting and trying to get like, it's always like, I have a personal account that I use for fun. I just post whatever. And it'll be the dumbest thing that will like get good views. And I'm just like, but anytime I post like real stand up, it's like a waste of my energy. And I
feel the same way.
Yeah, and I think that's what's like frustrating. At least I notice like between comics and stuff is like the amount of energy that goes into editing the clips and to getting everything and then posting it and having it kind of flop.
I've been at it for like whatever 6 years probably, like trying to put up clips, and it was like so much harder 6 years ago than it is now.
Oh, true, yeah.
But like I learned quickly, like, don't put effort into it because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then I hear people, and there's like all these like old ideals around comedy, and I call it pro club propaganda. But like there's all these like old ideals that just like don't apply anymore. And it's like people are like, oh, I don't want to burn material. I don't want to.
Sure.
Like, knock it off.
Yeah.
Put it out.
Yeah.
Take no effort. Do the minimal you could do. We got to set up 8 cameras and get the sound. And it's like, no, dude, I've seen security camera footage blow up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it has nothing to do with anything. It's a random crapshoot. Just put it out.
Exactly.
Just put it up. Pay as little attention to it as possible. If it catches somewhere, it catches. I've had things doing the millions on all the platforms.
Yeah.
Like whatever. You get lucky or you don't get lucky, whatever. It doesn't fucking matter.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like, I don't know, my attitude towards like posting clips and stuff is more so like maybe if you're reaching out for trying to book a show or something like that, I feel like it's more so just like, here's my portfolio. Look
just
at
proof.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just proof. Yeah, it's just evidence.
It's like just something, accessible.
Yeah.
EPK, something like that.
Yeah. Because that's another like expired thing. Like, oh, you got to have your EPK together.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
No, you need a link tree and you need posts on social media. That's it. Like, I'm going to find out just as, there's a level of professionalism where it's like, the website's set up. And if you go to nearrubenstein.com or Google Near Rubenstein, it comes up and you can go to the thing and all my things are there and it's how I want it to look and not, and you can like go to the Patreon and go to the merch store and go to the thing. Sure, whatever. People aren't doing that. You know what I mean? There's a few people that are doing that, but it's like as long as you post your dates on your Facebook and your clips on your Instagram, people will be like, when I reach out to someone, because 9 out of 10 times the way to get in touch with a booker is through Instagram, or maybe 7 out of 10 times, whatever, regardless, majority.
Yeah.
So you hit them up, and then they don't respond right away. They look at your page.
Yeah.
And if you have 2,000 followers and no videos, they're like, no, they're not going to respond.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I'm in like a range where it's like, hopefully they respond, because like, I don't have that many followers, but like, I have like content.
Oh yeah. You have
So,
a lot.
like-
I was looking. You have a
Like
lot of
if you
good
look at my
content.
page, you see like, oh, this is a comedian, and here's jokes, and there's laughs. and
Yeah.
he's doing the good job in the room.
Yes.
You know, and then if you go to like my other platforms, you see like, oh, I do have like 30,000 here and 25,000 here.
Yeah.
And, you know, whatever. But yeah, if you're going by Instagram views, it's like whatever, man. I can't be a part of that world. Let me just tour.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna ask though. So do you do a lot of self booking when you go like out on
Everything's self.
yeah.
And you know, and so yeah, it's self, but it's like if one of the headliners that I open for is like, hey, I'm gonna be in Oklahoma,
Yeah.
then it's like, all right, cool, I'll meet you in Oklahoma, and then I just gotta like, then I'll book,
Build around it.
Yeah. So like I'm in Omaha with Ashley,
Yeah.
so I'm like, all right, let me do headline Zoo Bar that weekend, let me do Thursday in Sioux Falls that weekend, so like,
Yeah.
I'm not just here for the.
When was
2
Ashley in
days.
town? Did I miss?
Well, that was like a year and a half ago.
Oh, okay.
But then we're gonna be here in September.
Okay, exciting.
No, this time was an accident. I was in Denver and I'm going to Minneapolis, and we were just in a green room in Denver, and 2 people started talking about this show, the Zoo Bar show, and I was like, "Well, what are you talking about?" And they're like, "Oh, it's a weekly." I was like, "Oh, what day of the week?" And they were like, "Sunday." And I was like, I had literally just booked a hotel room in Kearney, and I was like, a Sunday in Lincoln. I was like, that's like another hour and a half. Like, I was like, I can cancel this room real quick if I can get on that show.
Yep.
Like, I'd rather do a show than not do a show.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, who? I didn't want to ask who books it, because like I feel like it's like
But
it's tacky. But I was like, oh, who's on it this week? And they said Cody, and like Cody's my buddy, so I was like, oh, and I just texted him right there, and I was like, yo, man, I was like, can I do a quick SD? I was like, I'm driving through anyway. I don't need money. I don't need anything. Like I'm literally driving through. And he was like, yeah, and he talked to like James and Jack or whoever, and they were like,
James and Jake, yeah.
James and Jake, I'm sorry, and they were like, yeah, no, yeah, definitely, and so, that's why I couldn't find him on Instagram. Because I was searching for Jack. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Sorry, pal.
He'll be okay. He'll survive.
And then and they were cool with it, and so I just canceled my room, like, because it was in that window when I could still cancel.
Yeah.
So I canceled the room, and yeah, that was it.
That's awesome. I think that's what, like, I feel like I'm still extremely new to stand up, and a lot of people in this scene right now are. I feel like the most useful thing that you can do is just like when people are passing through, like if you have a room and you do book a show, put them up. And that's like, I do, it's Backswing Brewing Company in Lincoln. They have an Omaha location too, but like that's like kind of the sole purpose of like the shows that I do there. Just people passing through who just want to get up and they're trying to stay the night.
What day of the week do you do that show?
Whenever. But yeah, like we'll do either Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But it just kind of depends on what's going on. But it's like, yeah, comics that are just trying to, you know, fill a date as they're passing through.
And you do it in Omaha too, or just in?
In Omaha too, yeah. Right. It just kind of depends on who's coming through and like what the situation is like. And I keep it flexible, but it's opened the door for me to meet like so many people passing through. Yeah. It's fun.
And then you double up with the pod. And
double up with the pod. That's what I try. I really am trying to like use it as like a way for, because I mean, a lot of like listeners are people in like our local scene and stuff. And so, yeah, whenever someone's coming through, it's just like, here's this person.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, also I just thought you were very interesting. Just like a different perspective.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Joslyne.
It was very fun.
And then I just turned out to be super curmudgeon-y.
No, I didn't think you were. I like the honestly very honest perspective, because I guess I just don't know. I also don't feel like I apply myself in the same way that you do as far as like posting to social media. The podcast is kind of my priority, but when it comes to like stand-up clips, I just like, I have my footage, I send that in.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I obviously don't know how to do it because it hasn't done, but I mean, it seems like just podcast clips is a perfectly viable way to go about it. You know what I mean? Just like once in a while sprinkling a stand-up thing so people know,
like, hey, I do this thing
I
too.
can also do this thing if you want to book me to do this thing.
Exactly.
You know.
I do want to ask you, do you do like I feel like the thing right now that I'm feeling pressure is like to like apply to festivals and stuff like that. What? Okay, you laugh. I kind of want to know, just pick your brain about it.
I'm the wrong person.
Really?
Yeah. Like my buddy Bailey, she gets on like every festival. Yeah. So she feels way different about festivals than I feel about festivals. But I feel like I wasted money for 5 years applying to festivals that were never going to take me. Yeah. Because like ultimately I'm a old white guy. And it's just like there's no space for me in that scene. You know what I mean? Until I establish myself in another way. You know what I mean? Like the festivals that I've gotten to do is like I've headlined a festival and I've done music festivals. And it's like that's where like that's where it's merit based. Sure. Where it's like, oh, if you're just like a slugger, they're like that's it. You know? But not crucial to I mean, I'm never going to be new faces just for laughs. You know what I mean? I'm never going to be on, you know, I don't know. I don't want to like call places out, but like they're not looking for me. I'll tell you that. You know what I mean? And I have friends that like crush it and it's like, all right. Yeah. Huh. We just have different experiences, you know? Yeah. That's what I've noticed with at least like, I mean, obviously we're looking at it two different ways, but like I never feel too strongly about maybe something that I see someone else get, because I just know it, like there's just too many options and variables for you to get hung up or jealous like on one thing, because it's like you don't know. Right. I'm just that's not for me. You know what I mean? Like but I'm sure I was talking to somebody in Colorado the other day. They were like, oh, you should come do this queer festival with us. And I'm like, I don't know, like, thank you, but I don't want to take the spot of someone who's like underrepresented. You know what I mean? Like you don't need a straight presenting cis white guy on your thing. Like, okay, like have someone else take that spot. Like, if there's a spot for me, I'll gladly do it. But like, I also don't want to take other people's spots. Okay. So like, I get it. Yeah. Like, I understand. You know what I mean? And like, when Ashley brings me out, I know she's not bringing a gay guy. You know what I mean? She's bringing me. And it's like, all right, well, maybe this was an opportunity that I took from someone, but like, that's an opportunity that I'm not willing to sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that's my homegirl. Like, we've been friends forever. Like, I don't know, that I want to hang out with her. Yes. And this is the way I get to hang out with her, is by opening for her. So like, that's my, you know what I mean? Yeah, like, absolutely. And she takes out plenty of other people, and she gives plenty of other people platform. And so I don't feel weird taking that spot. But like, you know, if it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's an interesting perspective. I feel like a lot of people don't think about it like that. Like there's just always like, I mean, even myself, I don't think about like, you know, what my spot could be taken away from another person. But so I think I didn't always have that mindset. And then a comic in New York City, Sonia Vai, we had a discussion about it. And I was like, you know, complaining about not getting a spot and like, you know, a brown girl getting the spot and me being way better than the brown girl. And then Sonia, as a brown girl, was like, well, you didn't lose out to an inferior brown girl. Like if there's 10 spots and 2 of them are brown girls, the brown girls got the brown girl spots. Those are the best brown girls. You lost out to the other 8 white guys.
Yeah. Okay.
You needed to be 8th best white guy, and you were 9th best white guy.
Comedy's
you know
a quota.
Well, I mean, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that pendulum swings back and forth too.
Sure.
But she just explained to me like, well, there has to be.
Yeah.
And I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. There has to be representation. Like,
yes.
You need to see other lesbian chicks on stage so that you feel comfortable being on stage. Grace needs to see other Asian chicks on stage so she feels comfortable being on stage.
Grace is gonna do stand up after this. Sorry.
You know what I mean? Like, so, like, you know what I mean?
Just seeing representation is important.
Like when, like I opened for Joslyne for a couple of weeks, and like every show was like big white ladies, big redneck white ladies, and it's like, oh yeah, because they've never felt represented before. There's never, I mean, Roseanne Barr in the 80s, but like in the past 20 years, there hasn't been like a big redneck lady like on stage being famous. And like, so these girls would all come out to see her, and it's like, oh, because they're represented. They see themselves on that stage. They feel comfortable here. There's a space. Like, whenever I open for Ashley, I always like talk to those girls like, you're the best audience because like you never felt like you were able to have a voice before. Yep. And now seeing Ashley be like loud and brash, it like lets you open up. And so then like them as audiences, I know Ashley complains a lot, but them as audiences, like they're so loud and welcoming, and it feels awesome because it's like there's nothing I can say that's too honest for them. Yep. You know what I mean? And it's just like they've just recently found a voice and can like laugh out loud. And it's like it's cool to see that. And it was like that with Joslyne too, where it was like, oh, just seeing these women like for the first time be like, oh, we can fucking enjoy things publicly. We don't feel weird. Like, oh, is my husband okay with this? Is my kid okay with this? Like, nah, dude, like you. Yes. Like, how do you feel?
I love that.
And so like I mean, whatever. Like it took me. I wasn't old, you know, in the early 2000s. I didn't feel that way. You know what I mean? Like I had to learn that behavior. But
I'm glad you expanded on that, because I think like when I hear about like representation, I have this like almost, and I think it's the curse of sometimes just people producing shows locally where they do feel like it's like, oh, well, we have to put a woman. Not that they want to show a woman on a showcase. So I'm glad you expanded on, because that's, I 100% agree. And yeah, I love that. But I feel like that's what I see most common. And again, I'm speaking from a very small like perspective of like the toxicity of just feeling like you have to put someone on just for the sake of.
So that is a flaw, right? That is a flaw in the system, but we have to work that out. Yeah. And I do think that putting up bad people, any representation, bad people is bad, because then it makes people think that they can do it when they can't do it. Right. And also like it perpetuates for the, I mean, this is like a much bigger picture thing, but like the people that expect women to be awful, if you just put up awful women to put up women, those people, you're perpetuating those people's beliefs. So like it is important to also like get good. Yes. Like when you get drafted to the bar show or when you get drafted to the club shows, like don't stop working. Like get better. Like prove people wrong. Like have a chip on your shoulder. And a lot of times I see women just get drafted and then be bad. Yeah. And it's like, oh, well, I get the shows. And it's like, well, that's a privileged thing. And now you're exploiting privilege. And is that better than what it, you know what I mean? Like, are you really doing yourself, your community justice by doing that? I don't know. I can go on forever about that shit, but.
No, I really enjoyed how you, that was well said.
But there's festivals where like I've seen like no spots for like straight white dudes and like 4 Chloes. And I'm like, there's no way I'm worse than 4 Chloes. You know what I mean? But it's just like, all right, well, there were only 2 spots for white guys. And, you know, Michael Longfellow got one. So it's like, all right, yeah, I guess. Fucking,
that's how it is.
That's how it is.
Wow. Well, very interesting.
So it's the say, I party with the kids that want to party with me. So
I like that.
Festivals don't want me. All right.
Like, I don't want you.
Yeah.
They're missing out.
They're missing out. Yeah. And then you know, a thing like the Fest or Adjacent in Jersey or you know, I headline Loveland Festival, like those places cool. And it's like, all right, man, well, like, yeah, like let's fuck around.
Yeah.
You know?
Good times.
You know?
I love that. Kind of steering gears a little bit. Who were like some personal inspirations to you as far as stand up? Who do you think is kind of like an influence for you, or you kind of?
So, all right. So there's like all categories, right? So
Sure.
Like writing, I think Joe List is like.
Yeah, you've mentioned him, and yeah.
I just think how he writes is like great.
Yes.
And then I also think how he approaches specials these days is pretty great too, where it's just kind of like, I'm just putting it out. Like, I don't like, this isn't special anymore. It's just this year's thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that. Or how it
just
how
more
I
casual.
Perceive it. Yeah. Like in the last one, he's like holding the mic stand. He's like, he don't care.
Yeah.
It's not about being.
It's not a huge production.
It's not this polished thing. It's just like, yeah, dude, like I have to do this.
Yeah.
We have to stay relevant. I have to be on YouTube. I have to be on Sirius. Like we're just. This is just what I'm doing.
Yes.
And then he like put out like some crowd work thing where he's like, oh, like half-assed. Like half of it is just him talking. Like he's not even like.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Normalize mediocrity.
Well,
I'm just kidding. He's still Joe List doing, yeah. But just like, you know.
And then I'll say like presentationally, I like Nathan McIntosh quite a bit.
Oh, I don't think I've heard of him.
He's great. He just put out a special called Down with Tech Nerds.
Nice.
That's on YouTube. It's really great. And then similarly, Ari Shafir, not presentationally, but like you know, you're familiar. So Jew was like a really great like example of like a writing exercise. Like it's an hour and a half on one topic. It's really beautiful. And then before that, he did Double Negative, which was 2 45-minute specials on one topic. So like, I mean, the premise of that, the thesis statement of the second half of Double Negative was my friend got pregnant on a Tinder date.
Yeah.
And like he just keeps going back. He says that like 8 times.
Yeah.
He just keeps going back to this same central theme. And he really squeezed all the juice out of that lemon. And it's like, to me, that's like a beautiful thing also. That's a great. And then ultimately my if I'm saying inspirationally, Sarah Silverman is like,
oh yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
Like down to mannerisms.
Yeah.
Like I emulate her as best of my ability. And like her ability to like flip back and forth from like political to silly and dark, and like, you know, it'll be like a poop joke or it'll be like a rape joke wrapped in a poop joke.
Yeah.
And like, and then just like a political joke. And it's like, oh, she can do whatever she wants. And like, it's just like, you know, I mean, whatever, like bad example, not as good as Sarah, but like how I'm talking about my parents being dead. And then I make like a silly Parkinson's pun.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we're like, remember, we're still being silly. Yeah.
I love that. It's just unserious and it makes it light. I love Sarah Silverman. I love
she's my absolute,
Maria Bamford.
Yeah, I like her.
Yeah, it's kind of, I feel like that same thing. At least I can't remember the name of the special, but there's one where she's just like talking about like very political things, but in the aspect of like, you know, role playing in bed. I can't remember. I can't remember what special that was, but I was just like, it's taking like something that's really heavy and making it playful and palatable.
Sarah does that too, though. She's like my boyfriend's foreign immigrant. So she's like, I don't like to do dirty talk. I'll just like in the middle of sex, I'll be like, USC's number one.
Yeah.
In what? I don't know. Juvenile diabetes, whatever. It's just important. We're number one.
Oh, that's awesome. I feel like that's refreshing. I feel like a lot of people don't bring up Sarah Silverman often.
Oh, she's
so
yeah. I
that's
mean,
nice.
I genuinely emulate her. Like,
Yeah.
I remember, like, early on, I was having trouble with consistent energy. Because, like, I mean, you see me, my style is kind of like a little reserved, and then, like, you know, I'll come up with the crowd, right? At first, I was just slow and quiet, and it was hard to, like, navigate a crowd's energy. And then I would be inconsistent in that because, like, sometimes if I came up after someone high energy, I would go, like, either too low or I would be high for me. And then I remember Nate Bargatze saying...
Love Nate Bargatze. He's my number one.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. I remember Nate Bargatze saying that no matter who's before him, he brings the crowd back to his level. Like, I am the mean. And I liked that, but I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And then I watched Speck of Dust, 2017, Sarah Silverman, Speck of Dust. And I watched that, and it was just so great. And I just was like, what if that's my baseline, is just a Sarah Silverman impression? So when I come on stage, just think, I just go, I just want my face on money, period. My period face on money. It's thick. No, it's more stoic. And so that's literally what I do in my head before getting on stage to, like, level myself out. You know what I mean? So if I'm following Cam Patterson, who's, like, got the crowd going, or if I'm following, like, someone, like, super slow, regardless, I'm going to go on stage and I'm going, I just want my face on money, period. And, like, I just...
Yeah.
It's like a power pose for me. I'm like...
I love that.
And then that's my baseline. And so I'm like, Mike out of the stand, Mike stand behind me.
Yep.
Hello. And, like, this is the level.
Yes.
And it took me that to figure that out.
Really?
Yeah. So, like, I'm literally doing a Sarah Silverman impression every time I get on stage.
Everyone just needs to channel their Sarah Silverman. That's awesome. I feel that. I feel like it's important to kind of just, like, see yourself in a comic that you look up to.
Well, that's the thing, is, like, watching her, I'm like, oh, I do all of that naturally. Like, I talk with my hands the way she talks with her hands. Like, I do this a lot. My girlfriend says that I'm directing air traffic. And I do this a lot. And then I'll watch a special and she'll do the same hand motions. And I'm like, oh, this is like a Jew thing. It's just like, we just talk like Jews. Like, we're just like, so, like, for me, it was just like, it was an easy thing. It was like, well, I loved her. I love her. I love her writing. I love her performance. I love her ability as, like, an all-time great. I would love to be there. And here's, like, oh, and also we have this thing in common where, like, we also do these mannerisms and we do these, you know, like, whatever. Yeah. So it was, like, really easy for me to be like, oh, I've been her for this whole time anyway.
That's
so
awesome.
Like, we'll just
go with it.
Go with it.
Yeah. That's all. I feel like that's, like, kind of, at least, like, my personal journey has been, like, I feel like I mean, I do think, like, I host, like, music bingo. Like, I'm very, like, I feel like I'm forced into these high energy situations. And, like, even when I host in comedy, I feel like I keep high energy. But I feel like my style that I really enjoy is just kind of like, I like a drier storytelling. Like, I like that. But I feel like I've been trying to find my footing and my balance of, like, what's, like, too much energy. It's like how you were saying, just, like, a consistent, like, this is my energy.
So what I tell like newer comics and, like, you know, people, like, whatever, I always say, like, what got you into comedy is because your friends were like, hey, you're funny, right? So, like, our job and, like, our voice is just bringing the same thing that we are around our friends to stage, just convincing these strangers to like you in a shorter amount of time. Like, what do your friends see in you? Let me get that information to these people as quickly as possible. And like, I think like that authenticity is like most important.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's like, yeah, I just said I'm pretending to be Sarah Silverman, but I'm pretending to be Sarah Silverman because she feels natural to me. Because that's just a way to center myself. Like, I am still me. I am just like using her as the, you know, and maybe in the future I'll have a bit of mine online where I'm like, that's my center. I can just do that, but it's harder to see it.
Find
like
your
that.
muse. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that authenticity is like the most important thing. So it's like, if your friends are laughing at Alibaba's because you told a story that's dry, then yeah, that's the dry. But, you know, you also have this like, you know, this like, you're charismatic and you have
Bubbly.
like, you have a big energy, you know? And so like, I would be remiss to not say lean into that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know,
I think
be what makes us want to hang out with you.
Hello.
Versus, you know, like, because Ira Glass said it, like, our skill doesn't match our taste at first when you're just starting out.
Yeah.
So, like, your taste might be Kyle Kinane, but your skill isn't going to be. And you're going to have a hard time emulating that or capturing that. So it might be more beneficial to, like, be, like, unapologetically Joslyne.
Yeah.
And then when you get so good that you're writing like Kyle, then you're doing Joslyne doing Kyle as a you know what I mean? So like I teach classes sometimes.
Oh, okay.
And I focus on take the mic out of the stand, put the stand behind you, tell your jokes. Like, that's the most important thing. That's first lesson. That's the baseline to everything. Just take the mic out of the goddamn stand, put the stand behind you, and tell your dumb jokes. That's the most important thing. And it just makes it so that you got to be comfortable being you, doing you.
Yeah.
I just got to be comfortable being me, being here, being on stage. That's the most. I'm not worried about writing. I'm not worried about performance. I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about comfortability on stage, being myself on stage.
Yep.
And so once you can be Joslyne on stage, you're going to have been doing it long enough that all that other stuff was happening anyway.
Yeah.
You didn't even notice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you were just so focused on becoming Joslyne on stage that, like, the writing got better because you're doing a lot of writing, and the performance got better because you're doing a lot of performance, and your jokes are coming out of you more fully formed because you've been not thinking about it. You've just been worried about, like, how do I be me and tell these jokes like me? You know what I mean? Like, how can I make this joke sound like I just told it at dinner?
Yeah. That's what I think that's like what I strive for, is just like, and most of the time, even in my writing, and I'm curious to hear like about your, like, how you write, but for me, it's like I try to understand what the joke is about and not focus so much on the words and go up there and just tell it like as conversationally as I would as possible. And sometimes it ends in me, you know, missing tags or just like missing opportunities to punch up a joke because I haven't, you know, really written it out. But also I just like sounding natural or like sounding like how I would.
Yeah. So for me, it's reverse. So I write the joke, and then, like, if I'm trying it at like an open mic or whatever, I just want to tell the joke. I want to tell the joke. No inflection, no act out, no personality. Just like, you know, I have a drawer full of loose IKEA screws, but I can't get it open. Like, if that's funny, then if it's funny telling it like that, then I can build around it. I can work around it. I can write other IKEA drawer jokes. I can write other jokes about furniture or whatever I want to do. And then I can tell this story about a time I was building IKEA furniture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now I have all these jokes already. And then I get the jokes as like tight as possible, one-liner style, and then weave it together. And then I add personality. Then I add conversation. Then I add the act outs. So I know that the jokes work alone. If the jokes work alone, then
Yeah.
None of the other stuff matters. Then the other stuff is just accents.
Yep.
There's a few jokes that I have where I'm like trying new things because like I'm still growing, I'm still learning. And like that mermaid joke is the opposite. The mermaid joke is all personality. Like if I just wrote that out, you'd be like, I don't see what's funny about that. You're just talking about a weird thing. But if I do like the, oh, you didn't, you know, and I make the faces and it's like
you animate it.
Yeah. Now it's, you know, now I'm presenting a musical, you know, so it's a little, you know, but ultimately like that, when I want to work on something, like when I'm like unpacking a trauma, I'm like, well, let me write some death jokes. Let me write some funeral jokes. Yeah. And if the jokes work alone, you know, then I can add it to this thing and then I can put words back in. Like, let me get just the words I need.
Bare bones.
And then put conversation back in it. So, you know, if I have the pansexual joke. Yes. Like, it's funny, like just the 7 words is funny.
It's funny, yes.
And then, but I have to be like, I did just, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm adding words that aren't necessary, but I want it to be conversational. But it wouldn't have worked, or it might not have worked if the joke itself wasn't funny. And now I'm just making it funnier by making it more us in the room talking.
Yeah, I like that. I could take notes from that because I feel like a lot of the times, like when I'll get lost and then I just have to circle back. I took this from another comic, but just like asking myself, well, what's funny about this story, or like what's like the main parts.
Well, I also would say every detail is a joke opportunity. So like yesterday I told a quick story at the mic. It was the first time I was telling it about whatever, I don't have to do the whole thing. So and I did it and it worked. So the joke itself worked. But now I'm like last night on the couch, I was adding joke opportunity or adding laugh lines to joke opportunities. So like I'm saying this guy, or I was saying like these 2 white ladies were walking down the street, and now I can be like, I don't know, probably on the way to a rally, or probably on the way to a gay pride, or you know, probably on the way to appropriate culture. You know what I mean? And just like going through the things, like, all right, what's the funniest thing? Yeah. What's the funniest thing they could be going to do? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like probably going to like a wine and paint thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like just like probably on the way to Pilates. Like, like what can I, you know what I mean? And then walking the other way was this like, you know, thugged out black dude, you know, probably late for something, you know, walking with a purpose, you know, like, and then you know, and then I could flip it, and then I'd be like, I don't know, or going to the pool. I don't know, I'm not racist. You guys, you guys laugh because you're racist. You know? And so it's like that wasn't in that joke. Yep. And now once the joke worked, which it worked, I was like, okay, now I'm gonna write jokes for the joke. So now it's gonna be like this blown out thing where I think I don't want to sound shitty about this, but
sound shitty.
I think what separates me in my mind from other people not doing what I'm doing is that. Yeah. Is that everyone's like, oh, that joke works, it's done. And I'm like, oh, that joke works, let's work it.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
You know, like I recorded that MMA joke for the special. And like the other day I added like a new chunk to it. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's probably not going to get recorded again. And if it does get recorded again, this new part's in it, but it's more fun to tell now because I've added this new layer, you know, where I'm, you know, cause originally it was like, oh, if the guy has cauliflower ear, basically, like I'm not gonna do the whole joke, but if the guy has cauliflower ear, like, you know, take what you want, just don't hurt me. But then I was like, oh, take what you want. She's all yours. Just bring her back when you're done. She has a curfew. And then that gets a groan. And I go, no, because she lives in a halfway house, you sickos. You know, and so it's just like, well, now it's just more fun to tell because now I'm playing with the audience. Yeah, yeah. And it's like, here's a joke that works, but like I was getting bored of it. And now it's like, oh, now it has new life. Now it's more fun for me to tell. And like,
Yeah.
you know, and then like, I'll probably fine tune that a little bit. Like maybe I'll talk about rehab a little in the middle of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I believe in second chances. Like, oh, you know what I mean? And then I can tell like a quick story about a second chance for me and then finish the MMA joke.
Yeah.
And like, that's fun for me.
That's
more fun for
fun.
me. And,
I'm getting like zest for writing, just listening. Like, it's just so exciting because I think that a thing I know I personally fall into and that I hear from like my friends that do stand up is just like feeling like it's like, oh, I just have been doing the same 10 and it's just done, and just not thinking that you can take it further, but you always can. And just like wanting to rework a joke.
That's I remember Joe List was talking about opening for Louis.
Yeah.
And they did like a 35 date run, and Louis recorded his special on like date 32. And then on date 33 he was like still fixing the jokes, and Joe was like, you recorded already? And he's like, yeah, but I'm gonna be telling these jokes for 4 more days. Like,
yeah,
I want to tell them the best that they can be. Like, these people don't deserve the best joke that I can tell. And it's just like, oh, well, if Louis, you know what I mean? Like, then none of us have an excuse.
We don't have an excuse.
None of us have an excuse to not work on material.
Yeah.
Like, and I see people just be like, you know, that joke works. And I'm like,
it could work better.
it could be so much better.
It could be. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I feel like people hear differently, right? But when I hear a big pop for me, and I'm like, fuck yeah, right? And then like Sam Morril goes up, and I hear the audience for him, and I'm like, oh, dude, I suck. Like, yeah, they laugh, but they didn't laugh like that. I want them to laugh like that. And so that pushes me.
Sure. Yeah.
And I see far too many comics not feel like that.
Yeah.
And we're all doing the same job.
Yep.
And it's like, all right, well, I only care about being the best. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I want.
It's you versus you.
Yeah. I want people to be like, oh, no, he was the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then be like, no, don't say that. He was right here.
Yeah. That is honestly the best feeling. That's awesome.
Yeah. Because I'm sick of the other way around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sick of someone coming up to learn more and being like, you were so great, and then like not make eye contact with me when they work out. And I'm like, the fuck, man? I'm just as good as that dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah. So let it be the other way around. Let someone come up and be like, you were my favorite.
I love that.
And me be like, no, don't say it.
No,
friend.
That's.
That was the best.
Yeah, thank you.
That was the best.
I love that. Wow. We are rounding down towards the hour. This has been such a great conversation. I needed this conversation personally. It just, I don't know.
Yeah, man.
You sparked a little. I feel inspired.
We're boys now, so reach out whenever and be like, hey man, I need a pep talk. I'll be like, fucking tell your dumb jokes.
Yeah. That's awesome. I do want to ask though, I know you have a website. You said that you teach classes. Is that something you do online, or?
I'll do like a personal coaching, like one-on-one if. But I have to feel like I'm not wasting my time. Like,
exactly.
I'm not just going to do it for anybody. Like a random open micer can't be like, hey. Neil, like I got to know that you like work on your stuff, and like, cause I don't want to be, I mean, even if you're paying me for my time, it's still like, it feels shitty to be like, and then this is, and be like, and then they just fucking get up and fucking, they're just doing spoken word, and I'm like, that's not what we went over.
Yeah.
But like the other day, someone that I know that I like, he's doing a TED Talk, and he hired me to help him with, and I was like, fuck yeah, like that's a cool thing.
We're working towards something.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. Yeah. And so like I like that stuff. Yeah.
So come correct.
Don't bring her again.
I love that. Do you want to plug your social medias? We've kind of plugged your special.
Yeah, Neil Rubenstein. I guess there's like a link in the description or something. I don't know. Print my name, just spell it correctly, and you'll find me. I mean, I think even at this point, even if you spell it incorrectly in Google, you'll find me.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I don't know. There's another guy, Neil Rubenstein. He's like a teacher.
Oh, well, we can kill him.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'm sure he's doing good for the world, but he's got to stop. He's got to stop like taking handles, because it's like, you're a teacher. What do you need?
What do you need this for?
What do you need at Neil Rubenstein for? So once in a blue moon, like on TikTok, it's Neil Rubenstein because that guy got it first. But it's like I don't even like TikTok, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So burn TikTok.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting. I had a really good time.
Thank you, Grace.
Isn't Grace amazing? The thumbs up. Yeah, because we didn't wear the
lady.
headphones and now we can't.
We can't hear her. Oh, is that the goal of the headphones? Is that why you wanted me to wear headphones so you could talk? So you could defend yourself? I can hear you through the door. It's all right. You could have spoke. Yeah.
Grace is gonna do stand up after this.
I like that she's like putting the clock.
Yeah, she's like
okay.
done. Sorry.
Like, 105.